What's up, beautiful people? This is Pretty Girl Love Trap content. This is my recap slash review for Winning Time Season 1, Episode 9, Acceptable Loss. You guys, how did you feel about this episode? I enjoyed it. Again, they are on a consistent roll of pleasing your girl, okay, with the content. Every episode has been solid. Of course, some a little better than others, but no complaints over here, okay? So let's get into the recap, okay? I'm not going to keep you guys too long, all right? So we start off and we at Mama Bus's condo, okay? She is being catered to hand and foot, okay? We got somebody over there making her some concoctions from NASA, okay, of all places. We got Jeannie over there taking care of her son, Dr. Bus, he over there taking care of Mama. So it's a team effort at this point. Okay, he wants to make sure he is doing everything in his power to make sure Mama is good. Okay, so we see his business partner, I believe Frank, and Claire. They're in a living room, and Claire was like, you know what? I'm gonna need some help. Okay, so I need to hire someone, and you know who I'm looking at? Jeannie, okay? She cannot be replaced, okay? She is an asset to this organization. I need to hire her full time. And your boy Jerry, he shut that down real quick. He was like, Her numero uno priority is to take care of my mama, okay? Like she don't have time to do any of that professionalness, okay? She's being caretaker. And I was like, dang, that's kind of selfish. I mean, I understand part of how he's feeling, but you can always hire a nurse, but whatever. And yeah, we see his business partner, he's getting a phone call, and annoying news, your boy Jack McKinney has been released to coach again, okay? And they're not really feeling that decision, but yeah, your boy McKinney, he has some conditions. He says he'll be back on as long as Westhead is out. I was like, oh, damn, son, like it's like that, okay? But he was like, yeah, I'm only rocking with the real people, okay, that I can trust on my team. I was like, okay, this is gloves off moment, all right. So of course, it's March 1980 at this point, and the front office, they're pretty much debating like, what do we do? Do we rock with McKinney or do we rock with Paul, Westhead? Like, what do we need to do? McKinney, of course, he has been proven to know what he's talking about, but Paul, he's been on a winning streak. Of course, with the help of Pat, I'm really, thinking that Pat is the cause of all of the winning at this point because Paul, he wrapped too tight. Okay, so they're going back and forth. They don't know what to do. So of course, your boy Bus goes to West. He was like, "Hey, bro, I need you. I need your expertise. Okay, I own this team. I'm responsible for it, but this is you. This is all you. So I need your honest opinion." And of course, he was stumped. He was like, "I don't know what to do, bro." He's like, "Let me think and sleep on it, and I'm gonna get back to you." I'm like, "All right, all right. We need to figure this out, okay?" So y'all, we are at practice, and your boy Spencer Hayward, okay, he is going through some things, okay. He is envisioning this man on this horse whistling. I'm like, what is going on here? And he's sitting in a chair, on the court, and he looks frozen, like he's going through shock. His teammate is like, bruh, like, what's going on? Stop playing with me. He wakes up, in a little frenzy, just cursing everybody out. Of course, he goes to his nifty handbag, and what does he go for? The crack rock, okay? And I'm like, oh, bruh, not now, okay? I mean, not ever really, but especially not now. We about to be, in the playoffs, bro. Like, what is going on here? All right. So someone calls him. Of course, he drops the crack rock, and of course, he's scrambling for it. And his teammate tells him like, "Hey, I had to borrow some of your tape and supplies that was in your bag." So of course Spencer pissed because that's where he keep his drugs at. You can't be up in there. And even if he didn't have drugs in there, that's violation. Like, I'm gonna need you not be in my personal stuff. I'm gonna need you to ask me, okay, who raised you? Like, come on, do you not have any manners? All right. Oh, Lord, but at least Spencer wasn't able to smoke the old crack rock at that point, okay? So he storms off. So Kareem runs after him. He pretty much confronts him like, "Hey, Iman spoke to Cheryl, okay? Our wives has been communicating, and yeah, I know you on that stuff, bruh." But Spencer, he was like, "I got it handled. I got it under control. I messed up, but I'm straight, okay?" And so Kareem was like, "You know what? I'm gonna give you one more shot. One more shot." And I was like, "All right, Kareem, I'm surprised you allow him to get away with this, but I understand that's your homeboy, all right?" So the next day, Spencer wakes up and he throws up all of his drugs and paraphernalia. It's a new day outside. He probably got a little Jesus in him. So I'm like, okay, Spencer, like, we got faith in you, bro. And he does great in the game. Like, everything seems all is well, all right? So we at the office. It's late night hours, okay? We got Bus, some lady friends, and his doc friend, they're, at the bar. And, the doctor was like, "Yeah, I looked at your mom's results and, her test, and it's not looking good. It's looking bad out here, bruh." And of course, Bus is not trying to hear that. So he ends up kicking his doctor friend out. And I'm like, "Ooh, okay, bad timing." I mean, Bus, he's in denial. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow. So I definitely understand where he was coming from. You can't control someone's emotions when they don't want to face reality. So, Lord, we see your boy Magic. He wake up in a sea of white women in the bed. I'm like, Lord, they are really landing on real thing. I mean, he could have been out there in the streets like that. I mean, that's what the streets was saying. So I guess, they're correlating real life into this show. But meanwhile, he gets up and he tries to call Cookie. She's in school, but she has one of her friends lie and says she's not in. But Cookie, she still love that man, but she's upset. And the reason why he was calling, because apparently Rhonda lost a baby, and it wasn't even his in the first place, so he say. But that doesn't even matter. Like, Rhonda broke girl code, and Magic, you was foul. Like, you was foul. That was the bestie. Like, you don't do that, okay? Like, come on. Do you not have any manners? No coop, all right? So we have Jeannie over there. She's at work at the office, and her coworkers were looking at the classifieds like, "Hey, this is your job that's being advertised. Like, I'm gonna need you to go for what's yours because you deserve it. And yeah, get your job, girl." And just in the nick of time, we see Buzz breaking up the conversation. He was like, "Come on, Jeannie, we're gonna kidnap Grandma." She's like, "What's going on here?" So apparently, Grandma, Jeannie, and Jerry, they break into this mansion. I guess, Jerry and, his mom used to break into this place when he was a kid. So it was a whole like nostalgic moment. And yeah, they had a good time. They was turning up, drinking, laying by the pool. And it was a cute little moment. Like, I enjoyed it. I was like, okay. I'm glad, well, if there was another color, they probably would have got, put in prison or something for trespassing. But we gonna let that go, all right? So Bus, he passes out, and Jeannie just staring at him. And Grandma was like, "You know what? He's really proud of you." And she was like, "I know." He was like, "He's really proud of you. Like, girl, you just don't understand. He just can't show it because I'm his mama, and I ain't teach him to do that." I was like, "Kudos to you, Grandma, for this self awareness, all right?" But she gives her some game and some good advice, and I just Lord, I love grandmas. Shout out to my grandma, R.I.P. All right, so Wes, he meets with McKinney, all right, because he's trying to figure out which way he should go. He has been instilled this position of advisory, okay, so he needs to figure out what's the best way. So he proceeds to talk to McKinney. We didn't really hear too much of that conversation, But, we see the ending of the meeting. He was like, "You remember your way out?" He was like, "Yeah, that was a lie." Your boy McKinney, he went down near the exit and he lost his way. He got lost. He became disheveled. Next thing we see your boy on the floor, don't know where he at, who he is. And I'm like, Lord, you are not ready. Okay. And it's so sad. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm really not feeling McKinney at this point, but I am, saddened by this situation. Like, he just want to live his dreams. So we see the security guard. He kind of helps him find the exit. And yeah, it was sad, y'all. Like, I'm like, oh, poor little Paul. So we see the Bus family. They wake up from their little drunken night by the pool. And, they was like, okay, come, Grandma, let's go. And she's non-responsive. So, of course, Jerry is just like, come on, we got to go. Let's go to the doctor. And so we see Pat, he's talking to Westhead, and he's like, yo, we need to stick up for ourselves. Like, this is our job. We can't let them take it. The whole time, Pat is just stressed out the entire episode. I'm like, Pat, just calm down, boo. It'll be okay. But yeah, he's stressed out. He's like, I will not be back on that beach being a bum. All right. And so we're at the hospital, and apparently, grandma had a hemorrhage stroke. And at this point, the machines are breathing for her at this point. And the doctor was like, long story short, just keep her on it as long as you feel comfortable. And I'm like, Lord, that's a difficult situation. Okay. So Wes and Bus, they discuss options, and they're pretty much both hard at this point. It's like, who do you go with? All right. Like, oh, we got the playoffs and all this money on the line, all right? And so Bus asked, Jerry, like, what does your gut say? What do you feel on the inside of that gut underneath, all that lobster and shrimp and everything that you've been eating, and all that alcohol you've been consuming? So we next see Jerry. He's knocking on McKinney's door. And McKinney, he just came off the bike. And I'm like, you're pushing yourself, bruh. But he answers the door and he doesn't recognize Bus at all. And Bus was like, delivery, just kind of playing around. And so McKinney asked his wife to come to the door to help sign for the package because he's thinking it's a regular delivery guy, but it's actually Jerry. So, she was like, Mr. Bus, I guess, trying to hint to McKinney, like, bruh, like, this doesn't look good at all. And of course, I think Bus was kind of in denial, and then he realized, like, oh no, he really can't recognize me. Like, oh my God. So he tries to play it off like, all right, I'm gonna see you guys later. Bye bye. But he goes in the car like, dang. Well, that option is not an option anymore. I was like, ooh, this is awkward because the wife looked scared. Like, oh my God, like he about to lose his job. You about to lose your job. Lord, that's stressful. So we see Bus. He goes to the next option. He asks Riley and Westhead, like, can you guys take us to the promised land? And Pat was like, yes, we can, sir. Yes, we can. I've been waiting. Put me in the game, coach. We're not really in the game, but you know what I mean. So I'm like, okay, yes. We're getting to the point where Riley about to be a part of this thing, okay? So the Lakers, they're pretty much having a good playoff run. They actually win the Western Conference. And we see Kareem and Magic, they all happy. I'm like, God, I'm so happy to see some of Kareem's teeth, okay? Because we know he been like a little Scrooge from the beginning of the season, all right? And so Bus decides to pull the plug on Grandma. And he didn't take it well. He was boo-hooing all of the tears. I'm like, oh, that's the time he one of them church hugs from one of them, them nice little church folk women, all right? And so the Lakers, they're witnessing Boston losing to the 76ers. So Magic will not be facing Bird. He will be facing Dr. J, his all-time idol. Okay, so Bird ain't happy at all. That's just say the least. Okay, so we are 3 days from the finals. And the security was like, Kareem, we got a situation here. And lo and behold, your boy Spencer in the hallway. I effed up So yeah, he couldn't stay away from the crack route, guys. And so the coaches, and the team, they're discussing the situation. So the coaches pretty much allowed the team to vote, and decide Spencer's fate. So it was close, y'all. Like, some people wanted him to stay, some people want him off the team because he was an asset. Like, they needed him. He was like, I won't say like a Dennis Rodman, because of course he came before Dennis Rodman. But if you guys are in my generation, y'all know Dennis Rodman was known, just that one of them gritty players, and they needed that. So Kareem, he goes to see Spencer. He's in the locker room, and Spencer was like, the white boy's white boying, like he knows, like, the fate is in the hands of some people he can't control. And so, he pretty much just tells this sad story about, him being from Mississippi, and, his family just being a part of this, sharecropping situation. And when he was born, they noticed he had extra long hands and fingers, and he had extra bones in his fingers, and they will always relish, about him, and how he's going to be so special and do something with his life. And the master and um the field boss, who's actually black, to say, yeah, he's going to make a one fine sharecropper, just kind of showing the struggle, the African American struggle. And yeah, it was sad. And Spencer, he said he would ask his mom, like, if God love us, why do we have to go through this? And he said, she told him, like, well, God loves them more. And I'm just like, oof, that's a little deep, but okay, mama. And yeah, I guess, that's pretty much showing us, what Spencer is going through, and the visions that he was experiencing was that field boss kind of whistling at him and just calling him. So we're seeing a little deeper look from Spencer. I'm like, oh my God. So at this point, we probably, as the viewers, we all feeling sad. And Kareem was like, well, bruh, the team actually was able to vote, and you're out of here. And guess what? I was the deciding vote. I'm like, dang, Kareem, stick a man while he's down. Like, but I guess, he had to keep it real. All right. He didn't want him to hear it from nobody else because they have that rapport. So, of course, Spencer, he angrily leaves, rightfully so. But at the same time, bruh, you can't be on that stuff. Like, that ain't cute. And I'm surprised they even allowed that leniency back then. Ugh, I wonder how many players was doing that back then during the games. Okay, I heard of a few, but you ain't heard that from me. All right, so Kareem, he sees Magic over there practicing the sky hook, and he gives them, just the game and just the theory behind the shot itself. His infamous shot. It was a cute little bonding moment. And yeah, the last scene of the episode, we see Spencer at this unsavory man's house. It looks like he is a dealer of all sorts, the guns, the drugs, whatever you need that's illegal. It seemed like he got it. And he was like, yeah, Spencer, what can I do here for? Spencer says, kill the Lakers. And of course, we know that ain't happened. But it's going to be interesting seeing this journey and what is going to happen with Spencer in episode 10, which is actually the finale, guys. Oh my God. How long will we have to wait for a season 2? I'm curious. But thank you guys for listening, and I will see you guys for episode 10. Please make sure you like this video, subscribe if you are not already a subscriber, and comment below. Let me know your favorite parts and your thoughts. Toodles.